Hello, there I am. My environmental biology portfolio is basically a short film built from my own photos, some silly drawings, and bits of field recordings with my own music. I've organized it into 9 small chapters that match the course outcomes. 3 on concepts, 3 on skills, and 3 on connections. For science, general biology, and environmental biology. In the concept sections, I attempt to show what I've actually learned. How ecosystems function, how species interact, and how environmental changes flow through living systems. The skills sections are about what I can now do with that knowledge. Using a structured field method, documenting specimens, pressing leaves, which is a weird high for me, and turning messy notes into something that looks like real data. The connections sections bring it all back to everyday life. A rooftop garden as a tiny ecosystem. Walking through bamboo forests. Noticing flood images and heat maps. And thinking about small signs of climate and environmental changes in ordinary places. I see this portfolio as a starting point rather than a finished product. It's a snapshot of how I look at nature right now, and if I keep adding to it, a way to track how my field skills and my storytelling grow over time, without hiding my novice works that are part of the story. The first chapter is Science Concepts, me trying to think with evidence instead of just opinions. This flood image is from my data summary piece, a town basically swallowed by its own river. It's one snapshot into a bigger pattern that extreme rainfall is becoming more common as the climate warms. I paired it with a New York chart showing how many days shoot past 90 degrees under different emission paths. As emissions rise, the bars creep from a few hot days toward most of the summer, which means more heat waves and stressed people. Together they have me ask the core science question: what's the evidence? What's the uncertainty? And which explanation actually fits? In this case, human-driven greenhouse gases win. It's just natural cycles does not. Next is general biology concepts, zooming from global climate down to small patches of life. In my Quadrat project on a rooftop lawn in Jakarta, I basically dropped a square frame on grass and counted 3 different species. That small square turned some grass into actual numbers I could use to think about population, density, and distribution. In my pattern in nature photos, I tracked yellow spotted leaves, white center leaves, and holy monstera, noticing how different species can share similar traits while filling different niches. Chapter 3, Photo Perspectives, how the same place can feel totally different depending on where you stand. For this, I used photos from a bamboo forest near Kyoto, Japan, taken in 2019. Ground level shots, looking up into the tall bamboo, gave a feeling of height and mystery, while eye level and more distant views showed a dense, almost wall-like forest. Those different angles turned one location into several different experiences and helped me see how perspective shapes what details in nature stand out. Chapter 4 is my portfolio plan, the blueprint for how all these pieces fit together. In this plan, I chose which assignments to highlight, from climate change visuals and Quadrat grass work to pressed plants, Kyoto bamboo, and even my Russian tortoise Boris. Each piece was picked because it shows a different way I connect with nature, through data, photos, sound, and long-term care for living things. This chapter is where the portfolio stopped being a pile of assignments and started becoming one story about how my view of the environment has been changing. Chapter 5, We look at forms and functions in nature, the way strange plant structures actually tell stories. For this, I used close-up photos from a class assignment on rose gull, where insects fed on a plant and the plant grows new structures around them, and also used my leaf pattern photos. Those yellow spots, white centers, holes, and galls are not random damage. They are signs of insects, disease, and growth patterns, written right on the leaves. Paying attention to those shapes helped me see plants, not as static decorations, but as living things constantly reacting to other organisms and to their environment. Chapter 6, Organism Care Plan, built around my beloved Russian tortoise Boris Spinoza. Here I lay out what Boris actually needs to stay healthy: a high-fiber, leafy green diet, constant clean water, and safe indoor and outdoor spaces that let him dig and explore without escaping and getting gobbled up by predators. I also think about long-term care, like cleaning routines, and how to keep him stable, even with my crazy schedule as we both get older. This chapter helped me see animal care not as a cute side hobby, but as a long commitment to one living organism's well-being. Chapter 7 is my pond food web, a small ecosystem that turns into a tangle once you really think who eats whom. Let's walk through a simple pond community, starting with plants and algae, then moving through insects, snails, fish, birds, decomposers, and how changing just one species could shift the whole system. At the same time, I connect this to the kind of citizen science I am drawn to: getting my hands dirty, helping with some real field work, building or maintaining equipment, and providing the labor and maintenance that let scientists actually study places like this. For me, this chapter isn't just about understanding food webs on paper. It's about wanting to physically show up in ecosystems like this pond and help collect data and keep the web healthy. My biology bucket list, chapter 8, places and projects that pull me forward. In this section, I talk about wanting to step foot in Antarctica and someday visit Papua, Indonesia, not just for tourism, but to feel those huge landscapes and to think about how people and ecosystems are treated there. I also sketch out smaller long-term dreams, building a library of nature sound recordings and pressed leaves and needles, each one labeled with where and when I met them. This chapter turns environmental biology into something that stretches beyond the course, into trips, collections, and questions that could shape the next few decades. And it's also a quiet shout out to my Uncle Nubby, whose nature paintings show me how you can catch a moment outdoors and hold on to it for a very long time. Okay, you're almost done. Chapter 9, my long-term habitat study, set in the oak woodlands around Muckross Abbey in Killarney National Park, Ireland. This is a place that I already love. My dad is from the region, and I plan to revisit for many years. Watching the old oaks, ferns, mosses, birds, and even tourist traffic change over time, I imagine next year shifts in flowers and fungi, 5-year changes in tree health and understory species, and 10+ year changes in the canopy as old trees die and new ones take over, all while I collect photos, notes, and family stories. Well, thank you to that one person forced to watch and listen to this. You take care of yourself. Bye.